Welcome back, everybody. So glad you could be with me here today. Walter at the workbench with the Veritas smoothing plane, 4.5. This is the basic smoothing plane. And out of the box, this is a demo plane. I had told them that if they had a demonstration plane that they use in a classroom or something, it would be more than suitable for what we need. Okay, now for the highlights. It arrived in at, well, as I said, it was clean, no oil or anything to wipe off because it was a demonstrator. The weight, 5.092 pounds, which translates to 2309 grams. As to the flatness, kind of got some different readings on the long version of this video that I want to repeat because I found something when I was taking it apart that may have been affecting its flatness. And let's see if I'm right. It still pivots a little bit. But it's better. Okay. It's flat. All right. If you notice, it pivots a little bit on the center. And what that could be, and I'd have to have someone from Veritas tell me for sure, but when you loosen the screw that holds the frog down, this is the frog here. Okay, the frog actually protrudes through the bottom of the plane. It could be ever so slightly resting on that. So we're just going to let that go at this point because it was plus or minus 1.5 thousandth to 1,000. So it's in good shape. The cheeks, the left one was kind of hard to measure because there's not much to grab onto. I'm getting 0.175 and 0.173. And as far as how square they are, which for this plane is totally irrelevant because there isn't a lot of cheek there to lay down and use as a shooting plane. So the cheeks were square. The left was plus or minus 1.5 thousandth at the top. So it went in, and on the right, it was under 1,000th. It was virtually square. Now, this does not have a lever cap. It has a screw adjuster cap. So the screw adjuster cap is a casting, and it had been adjusted, and I can show you. Okay, on the part here that was machined, someone took it to a stone and smoothed it out a little bit more. Okay, so there's that. The blade set. Yeah, well, I had that open. I should just as well have showed you. The blade set is sort of a combination of new and old. It's got the rounded top or bump or hump like the Stanleys of old, and it's got the thick cutting iron. So the cap iron was measuring only 0.074 inches thick, 2 3/8 inches wide, parallel and square. The cutting iron is 0.1 inch, and it was square and parallel. Now, this is their PMV11. And while it arrived in what was considered used condition, so it had been honed, I went to put a hone on this, and boy, is this stuff hard, even on the diamonds. So I did finally start to get a slight burr, and I just touched the back one pass on the Charlesworth ruler technique, but I had to go with a 27-degree secondary, and I was not getting a burr, so I went to more like a 30-degree tertiary, and I finally started getting a little bit of a burr. So this one is honed just a little different than all the others. The frog is very interesting. And someone said, don't use the phrase, now that's different. But the frog, the casting for the frog, as I said, goes through the body to the soul, and the casting comes up here where the tote connects to it, and the casting comes out down here where the tote connects to it. So the tote is connected to castings, which is connected to the frog, which is connected to the body. Now, I find it interesting that there is only one screw holding the frog down, and that's right there. It has the Norris adjuster, so I can't rate this as a lateral left and right like I would with the others. But it does work perfectly fine. And to advance the frog, you have the main body screw, you have a second knob back here, over here, and then there's this adjusting wheel or nut, whichever you would like to call it. So being a Norris style, you have a little hole here on your cap iron or chip breaker. That has to go onto a pin on the Norris adjuster, which is what gives you your lateral, and then your knob is your advance and retract. One other feature of the way this is constructed is there are two set screws, one here, which helps keep your blade centered in the opening. Walnut knob and tote. It's a more upright tote, not horrible, and an interesting style tall knob in the front here. And I don't even know how that's connected. I'm assuming there's a screw in the knob which you tighten. So that's about it. There is no yoke, there is no adjusting nut. It's all in the Norris adjuster. And there's pretty much not much else to say about it, except that from a worker's standpoint, you know, It feels as a smoothing plane should. So if you have any questions or comments, put it down in the comments section. And once again, make sure that you thank the good people at Lee Valley, Veritas, for loaning us these planes for the demonstration. Once again, it's very gracious of them. And leave comments. Thank you, Lee Valley. Thank you, Veritas. And I'm looking forward to seeing how all of these planes work on the same piece of wood. That's the short one. Like, subscribe, and share. If you want to see the long one, come on back a little bit later. I'll post it. Walter out.